Alright, hello again, YouTube. This is Dr. Kendo, and we're here live for Five Nights at Kendo's Part 2. So this is, of course, the epic sequel-type episode, I guess, to the Five Nights at Kendo's first creation episode that we did. This was back in July, which was Founders Month, of course, for this channel, Dr. Kendo Commentaries. So, why not get this started? So, of course, as I just mentioned, Five Nights at Kendo's 1 is a thing, or whatever. You're seeing some clips from it on stream right here. Now, I'm doing this episode live for a very specific reason, and that's mostly because I'm going to mention it in just 1 second, but be sure that you have seen Five Nights at Kendo's 1 if you're watching this not live. And so anyway, for all the rest of you, I am streaming this live at the moment because I'm going to be at PAX South coming up this Friday. And so that is starting tomorrow all the way until Sunday. And so that'll take me away from everything. So I wanted to get the episode done live. And so we're going to start off with our first character of Five Nights at Kendo's right here, which is going to be KENNARD, basically, but the Kendo version. So like you saw in Five Nights at Kendo's 1, we kind of start off with the Dr. Kendo avatar. You can see that in episode 144 on the step-by-step creations, but it's really starting off with a specific man as a source object, and then having Micah as the head and the arms. And so taking those the legs, I should say, and then taking the man's torso and the arms, basically, for the most part. Now, when we do a character like KENNARD here, or KENNARD, because it's KENNARD, Kendo style, we, of course, kind of remove a lot of the body parts that, the arms and the legs and everything, but we do have the Basilosaurus tail piece right here that we're grabbing. It's not the very end of the tail, but next to that, because we're going to give KENNARD a little mask right here, and we see lots of people in the chat right now, so I do acknowledge you guys. I just need to do this kind of like an episode, but I definitely appreciate all of you stopping by to see this live. Again, if anybody can't stay until the end, or if anybody just doesn't see the live stream right here, it will go up as a video on demand or whatever, as kind of just like an episode as Sunday, per usual. So, here we go. We're going to type in Aaron, and that's one of the 5th cell members, and when you actually put the male version, it kind of yields this crazy Cylon robot or whatever, and so we're going to use that Cylon version of Aaron right here, this crazy robot, and take the arms, but we're also going to use the legs. I hope you noticed also we put down the intestine there, so the intestine was kind of on the torso in the middle. That's going to be all that waviness and stuff of KENNARD Kendo, or KENNARD, I guess is what we should call it. We should call it KENNARD. And so here's the legs. Of course, one of the things about Dr. Kendo versions of characters, we've done Kendo Tail, we've done Kendo Universe, like Steven Universe, and of course, Five Nights at Kendo's the first one. Well, of course, a big thing for me was that I used to wear red shoes in college, and a little bit after that, I guess, but red Converse specifically, and so I like to, whenever I can, kind of make these Kendo crossover characters be with red shoes or red feet or whatever, to kind of nod to that, I guess, and make them a little bit different. Of course, one of the main differences of, that I mentioned before was Micah, which is also one of the 5th cell members. That's the head that I feel most looks like the Kendo head, and so yes, we have the golem's thigh piece. That's going to be the other side of the mask. That would be to our left on that side. And then just kind of a series of round objects. You can use a lot of them, but I use specifically bubble for the white of the eye right there. You can use a golf ball or a ball to get a shape very similar to that. P, obviously that's PEA, P, to be the pupil in there. And shrimp paste, actually a new stamp. I don't think I've used that in this series yet. But shrimp paste we actually did for the eye hole on the other side there. Pearl, obviously, for the nose. And so, yes, happy to see some more people in the chat right now. And we're getting kind of near the end, I guess I should say. And so a road hump can finish this off here for the mouth. Well, actually, we're going to need to add in some teeth as well, because we do have some additional stamp space. And so the octopus, I think you guys probably saw that, but the octopus tentacle piece is for the chin part, that bottom part of the mouth, and we can go with Irish moss. One thing I do want to note is, with using the Irish moss as the teeth, it's interesting because when I do Five Nights at Freddy's characters, in my usual episodes, and then now I have Five Nights at Kendo's or any of the Kendo crossovers, usually I don't do them as 2 separate pieces. The only reason that you would want to do that is because, of course, Scribblenauts Unlimited does have a limited amount of stamp space, even though the game is called Unlimited. We've talked about this a lot in my episodes if you're familiar with my series, but with that, I like to do the kind of real creations of the real characters and everything as detailed as I can. And so that often, to get all those details requires creating the head and the body separately to have enough stamp space to do it. And so here with these kind of kendo crossover creations, we can omit certain details in favor of other details, and I can kind of create them as all one object because they're not supposed to be exact copies of, the Five Nights at Freddy's character. Otherwise, that would be Five Nights at Freddy's. This is Five Nights at KENDOS. And so you could do so many different characters. That's why, there's 2 parts right now. This is Five Nights at KENDOS 2. So, I mean, it's like there's with Five Nights at KENDOS 1, I think I had like 16 different characters or 17. There was so many animatronics, so many characters that we could have done, and that I did and that we could have done. And so I looked at the comments and saw kind of what the majority consensus was for characters that you guys wanted to see for part 2. One of them was making Mrs. Kendo, my wife, be Chica. Somebody said, put Chica as your wife, and that sort of put the light bulb off in my brain here to then have Schnitzel as the beak for Chica right there. We have our Mrs. Kendo design really as a beauty as the source object. And then there's a specific woman, when you type in woman a certain number of times and everything, that has the bows in her hair. And so Mrs. Kendo, it's sort of hard to make her human distinguished in Scribblenauts Unlimited, which human is going to look like Mrs. Kendo, because her hair has gone through a lot of transformations and whatnot, but kind of sticking with that Kendo in college, having the spiky hair and the red shoes and everything, well, Mrs. Kendo in college had bows in her hair a lot of the time, and they were often accessorized with whatever other clothes she was wearing, so I'll often accessorize the bow to a small extent in Scribblenauts Unlimited here to be the character that we're kind of Kendo crossover-ring, and so this is Chica, of course, Mrs. Kendo Chica. And so everything else, probably pretty self-explanatory. We created Chica very similar to this as the real Chica character. 29-page library, arm shapes were the little hairs there on the top. And I mentioned the Schnitzel. We had spiderfish bottom fin as the eyebrows and all sorts of good stuff. Lots of round objects you can use, any sorts of balls or bubble as the eyes, and P as the pupil. Of course, plastic was the bib on that. And so here we got, J.E. Sentry in the house. What's up, J.E.? And thank you, somebody saying I love your videos. That would be MineDon8. And so, yeah. Anyway, the NANOBOT is going to be the source object right here to be a MANGLE version of Kendo. And so we, of course, want to honor the red shoes. Why not? So I actually did shoe and painted it red right here. Not exactly going to be Converse, but it is, I would say, a nice little homage to my red shoe wearing. And so then the other ones are just feet on the other Mangle feets there. And so we got the mica head already there, and the nanobot's head actually normally is more to our right on that side over there of the creation, but I've obviously moved the nanobot head way over pretty much to the other side. And so we're going to actually use that was ribs that I put down earlier. Ribs are going to be sort of this base piece for like the rib cage of Mangle, which is interesting. Ribs for ribs, but it's not the actual rib bones. But anyway, bow tie, of course, and we can attach that to the head piece. So make sure that the bow tie is with the head and the ribs are with the body. Does that make sense? Place them accordingly. So then that same octopus tentacle piece we used for the chin of KENNARD, we can now use as kind of a attachment for the head right there for the endoskeleton or kendo skeleton head. And so we will kind of complete that in just a second, but I wanted to make sure that we get some Mangle arms on here. And so Jenny Greenteeth back arms can be for Dr. Kendo's arms there. And we will have enough stamp space to go probably in a pretty good detail for the Kendo skeleton head here on the mangled Kendo. And so we can go with a hemisphere after just putting down 2 of grills. And so grills is Grillz, not S, as you would think. A golf ball. That's another one of those, just you can use round shapes and everything like that. And one thing I guess I should note is that this Kendo skeleton, endoskeleton head here is on the body. It's attached to the body of the nanobot. So make sure that it is on that body grid. And there you can use a ball, golf ball. It really doesn't matter. Just another kind of round object for the other eye. And the ping pong ball, because that'll shrink down pretty small, I guess. And if you need to go even smaller, you can always use a P or a pimple or a dot or any of that stuff. But this will work just fine, having the ping pong ball there. for the color. And of course, if anybody is wondering, why I color eyes a specific color accordingly to different characters, is because, of course, I have bluish, kind of gray, blue, green eyes, and Mrs. Kendo has brown eyes. So I do stick to that for the most part with these characters. So, if you're ever saying, like, Mangle doesn't have those color eyes, or, this character doesn't have those, well, this is Five Nights at Kendo's again. So it's not trying to replicate exactly the Five Nights at Freddy's model. Crossover inspiration. And so we got the Irish moss once again for the teeth, with road hump as the mouth there. And then just again, you can use bubble if you want to for the round eyes there. The main part of the eyes, I guess we should say. The ping pong ball, once again, that can be for this black eye to our right of the mangled Kendo. And so this is all looking good, all coming together. The stamp limit's going to be reached right here after we use that last little P. And so that's in place. Looks good. Mangle Kendo, or you can call it mangled Kendo, whatever you want. And Crazy Apple is saying, "Hey Kendo, this is my first stream." So what's up? And yes, Super Fan. That would be, what is that? Super Jive Fan saying, "Yes, amazing." But here we have something that I hope you guys enjoy, which is the exotic Kendos. So pretty much just taking the exact exotic butters creation that I did. That was episode 194. You can actually then just take the mica head, and I did varying shades of yellow-orange, So, like the exotic butters having shading and everything, you can have exotic Kendos, or what would be better than that? Exotic UTTAPPAM! So we've got the UTTAPPAMs there, and if you just type in UTTAPPAM, exactly as you see right there for the exotic UTTAPPAM, that's going to have the UTTAPPAMs in the basket. So yes, we got those too. Whatever one you want for Five Nights at Kendo's, you decide. So here we've got Baby as Mrs. Kendo, or Mrs. Kendo as Baby, I guess we should say. So kind of all the stuff that we used on our Baby creation, except for the mouth, is actually just typing in smile. And of course with our Mrs. Kendo character as the kind of source or base object, here's the text on screen to see a lot more of the stamps that were used. There's a lot of different things, and this does exceed the stamp limit with that character right there. So we're in the last kind of quarter of the video, probably. We've got Puppet Kendo coming up. You could also kind of string in Marionette and Kendo somehow and make it Marionette Kendo, or fuse the words. And so Mox, we can actually type in Mox to be the arms there, because you notice that I took off the arms of our Kendo, original kind of Kendo model. We kept on everything else, though, and as you see, the hair is going to be colored on this one. But we've got the button. Of course, that's the button that comes from close. We also had that on our KENNARD earlier. So if you saw the button there, that's what I typed for that. And the letter I can be these stripes on the arms. And so for the puppet, it's like, did I want to give him crazy claws or anything like that? I decided on no, because I want this to be a little bit like more Dr. Kendo-y and not just go, again, it would look very close to the Five Nights at Freddy's puppet if we just tried to do all of those details exactly. And so, to add some more stripes and everything, the shoes are actually not only red, but they have the little zebra pattern on them and everything for puppety stripes. And so, 29-page library. Of course, on the 22nd page of that is an arm shape, kind of in the second row from the top, in the middle. From the bottom. In the middle, we can take that arm piece and put it as the kind of lip makeup there on the bottom. And so then everything else is mostly self-explanatory. Again, 29-page arm shapes. We had the hemispheres for the eyes and hemisphere for the cheek dot that was on the side, as well as the dot for the other cheek. And so here is the purple Kendo, or the purple man, purple guy, and pretty rudimentary creation on purpose, of course, to make it look all, crude drawing. And so minus sign is for a lot of that, the hair right there on the top, as well as the shoes of the purple man, Kendo. And so then an eyebrow is the object in the hand, and those arms are actually the 29-page library on the 4th page. At the bottom, you'll see that arm shape there. The badge, actually, of our purple Kendo, there is a pot. So P-O-T, and you can choose the garden pot, not the kitchen pot. And so a leg for the legs. That's pretty simple, right? And so here's that 4th page library arm. It's there in the bottom middle. And so everything else looks pretty good. That was also for the neck kind of coming out because we, of course, moved the head forward. Marshmallows as the eyes, both the white and the black part of the eyes. Glow stick right here, painted black for the top part of the mouth. And then for that bulk of the mouth right there is going to be a rectangle. So looking good, pretty crazy. Purple Kendo. And so... why does he have exotic butters on his head is what D Productions is saying. Nice. Got him. And so KENDOBAB. Obviously Biddy Bab right here. But the Kendo version. So bubble is the white part of the eyes. You can do any sort of ball or golf ball. That's what we'll type in. We'll go with the golf ball to be the blue part of KENDOBAB's eye right there. And a P for the pimple. Or the pupil, I should say. Not the pimple. I'm so used to saying pimple for the pupil. Okay, getting ahead of myself. And so squid, we can take that upper tentacle squid piece. It's kind of close to the squid main body of the squid. Well, it just basically creates a line. And of course, that's the line down the middle, splitting KENDOBAB's head. And so we can go with a fish as the tail of the fish, actually, and paint that all black. Rotate it, or flip it, I should say. And then just make that be the mouth. And so grills, once again, is going to be twice for the teeth right here in our little KENDOBAB's mouth. And 29-page library arm shapes, not only the 10th page ones for the shoulder padding, I guess, right there, the plating, but also on the 20th page, down in the bottom middle, is that chin piece. And so we'll actually go ahead and now type in the letter I to show you that's kind of here on the torso, but on the lower part, lower half. And a golf ball again for the little button there in the middle. And there's that 10th page arm. It actually belongs to a mutant. And so it's the back arm of a mutant. The regular arms here of KENDOBAB, as you saw before with the MANGLE Kendo, is the back arm of Jenny Green Teeth. So that looks good. We kept on the Micah legs. So those legs are still for Micah. As well as, it's probably pretty obvious by now, right? The head. That's Micah's head. And so a golem. We can take the shoulder piece of the golem right there to be those little paddings, I guess, on the upper part of the leg. And so here you can see all the stuff that was added today for this episode, Five Nights at Kendo's 2. We got all the crazy animatronics there. There's the Chica Kendo holding the cupcake Kendo. And we do have the little eyes on our KENNARD there that we added. And yeah, so everything looks pretty crazy. We can now see each creation individually, one by one, as I look at some more of your comments. Mr. Kibbles is saying, hey, Kendo, the ham dog was pretty good, by the way. Think he's referring to a Twitch stream, of course. KENDOBAB. Nice. Jay and his dad gaming. And so there's KENNARD, of course, and the party hat was added as I was commentating that one. So, yes, thank you, TNT Plays MC. Says, oh, I like KENNARD. And so what else do we got? Do you play PIC or Wi-Fi U? I'm guessing Iron Rayquaza Gaming and More is asking if I play on PC, Steam, or the Wii U. And I particularly do pretty much all my creations on the Wii U. Most of, everybody should know, I guess, hopefully, that the Wii U only allows 20 item slots in your Punctuation Plaza store. So I do try to kind of interchange my items every now and then, but the game is so incredibly buggy that sometimes when you're adding or removing items from your store in Punctuation Plaza, it often freezes the game in an uncontrollable state. So we went, of course, from our Five Nights at Kendo's 1 trailer back in July, right there, to Five Nights at Kendo's, the first part. There's the ones from FNaK 1 or FNaK. And so then, if we take all of those Five Nights at Kendo's characters from the first episode, put them into this episode right here, we've got Five Nights at Kendo's 2. So, how about we add them? I'm waiting for it to show up. There they are. My magic. And so, here's all the stuff we've created so far for Five Nights at Kendo's. This is not necessarily the end, but this is basically the end of part 2. So I really appreciate you guys coming along to see this. I hope that it was enjoyable for you. And again, I will be at PAX South coming up here in just about 24 hours. Actually, it's going to be much less than that, I should say. Really more like 12 hours. And so, one more kind of announcement about that, I should say. not only is one announcement going to be that this is, of course, going to be an episode for you guys to see on Sunday as a video on demand, but I did just want to mention I do have a Twitch channel. I don't know how many of you guys know that, but www.twitch.tv/drkendo. That's twitch.tv/drkendo, of course. So I do stream there every Monday, but actually I'm going to be streaming tomorrow from PAX South to the Twitch channel. So at 8 o'clock, or no, it's 7 o'clock Eastern and 6 o'clock Central Time, I'm going to be streaming from PAX South, from the show floor. Going to be playing some Rocket League, but mostly just talking about what I saw during the first day of PAX South, and hopefully answering you guys' questions, of course, then. And yeah, just come talk to me on Twitch and figure out what's going on with PAX South. I'm going to play the Nintendo Switch, of course, while I'm there. But I have a lot of appointments with a lot of other developers, so I'm going as media, of course, my big fancy media badge. And I will be covering PAX South as best as possible on dkcgaming.com, my new site. But yeah, so I think that that's the main announcement. So please go give me a follow over on Twitch, or at least if you're following the Facebook or Twitter pages for Dr. Kendo commentaries, links are in the description of all of my videos. You'll get up to date, minutes and announcement, up to the minute announcements is what I'm trying to say, up to date posts about when I'm streaming. If you can't tell, I'm incredibly nervous. Not only do we have the face cam, but live creations and stuff like this for Scribblenauts always makes me nervous. But okay, I really, again, hope you guys enjoyed this, and from the bottom of my heart, I just love you guys so much. I thank you to the ends of the earth, and thanks for viewing.